It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, September 8th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? Yes, I am super thankful and grateful and happy and everything else all together because it's Friday and the weekend is already here and I'm just excited to relax, even though we had a long weekend, but I am so happy that it's Friday. If you haven't yet, go ahead, leave a like and comment to build our community. Yep, just takes a few seconds, not even a few. It takes 1 second to click that like button and leave a comment if you have a lot of things to say or some little things to say. Comment on anything from this podcast, anything going on in your life, questions, or comment on other people's comments too. Right, so I'm super happy that everyone's joining us every week down the Morning Star Drive, so let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message titled, Learn from Me and Believe It Absolutely and Live Strong. And of course, I believe that the English translation changed for this week's, the same title, but the English change is like, Learn from Me, absolutely believe like this and live strong. I'm not sure why they did that change in the Sunday message translation, but to me, it sounds exactly the same. It does. All right. So it's Friday, short week for us over here in North America and any other country in the world that has a Labor Day long weekend. We had Monday off, and what a nice day to have it off. Like having the Monday off is so much better than having Friday off. And the only reason is because Mondays has such a negative a negative connotation, negative feeling towards it, you know? Just the word Monday makes me feel terrible, right? It's like, oh, it's already Monday. But technically speaking, I still worked on Monday, but because people had the day off, my brother had his day off work, he took me out for my birthday and such, so it was like a holiday for me anyways. But it feels so quick that we're already here at Friday. We're already into the second week of September, which is kind of crazy. September 8th already, right? So I can't wait to start my weekend right after this podcast. I'm going straight for some coffee. Even though I'm drinking a coffee right now, I'm having a drip coffee, a pour over right now, just to get myself started. It's a small cup, but I can't wait to have a real cup of latte after this too. So I'm quite excited to go for a nice coffee after this also. Can you believe it, guys, how fast this month is going already? It just baffles me how fast this year is now after it was so crazy slow in March and April. I can't believe how fast even September's going. And for me, I have a soccer tournament in 3 weeks and I got to get myself, my conditioning up a lot more, get my soccer skills back on track before I get there. I'm just excited to be with all the guys and just hang out. That's what I'm excited about the most. And of course, the competition's a big thing. But with guys, there's just this energy when you're with a ton of guys in competition, right? And, it does get, and of course it's competition, so it does get competitive at times, but overall, it's just super fun. Guys love this type of environment, right? And of course, it's only fun if you win. I'm kidding, but I'm not kind of kidding. I'm just kind of kidding, but it's not fun when you lose, when you're in competition. But then, after a few moments, it's fine again. So, for guys, this is like a bro fest. I would use another word instead of bro, but I don't think it's something that I would only use when I'm talking with a bunch of guys. Let's just say it's a bro fest, right? And, the whole time, if you guys know what goes on with guys, we sit there making fun of each other. We play games. We do punishments, just laughing, competition, food. It's everything that a guy wants. And, of course, after everything is done, it's all about the bragging rights, who won, who got the trophy, who got this, who got that. And, it's also about realizations too. And I think this is what would be the difference between us in like the guys in like Providence or spiritual people more than people in the world, because you just stop at just bragging, making fun of each other, then they go out for a drink, right? For us, we're like, remember I told you last tournament what happened? It was so amazing. We can praise God. We can testify about God so much. And we talk so much, like for hours, we talked about the tournament and what happened. Like girls, like we talk so much. Every situation, what happened here? What was I thinking in this situation? I couldn't believe this happened. I'm so thankful that this person did this. Like we realized through that competition what God was saying to us. Everything was happening. We just realized, yeah, this is what God is saying to us. And we talked about the miracle of weather, the miracle of how we won, the special situations. We couldn't believe that happened. So it was like a total, like competition is like, these types of competitions is like the perfect storm for guys to bond and for guys to really get closer to each other. And I'm sure like some of the girls were there for last tournament, like Rachel from Provipuff. She's from Houston because we had the tournament in Houston. They came to eat after with us, and they probably couldn't believe how much the guys were, like guys don't talk that much, but when it comes to sports, we were talking for hours at the barbecue house. Hours and hours, and just talking about every single situation. We want to write books. We want to do a testimony. There's just so many things, right? So that's a time when you see guys talking a lot, right? It's our experience, competition, how we won, how we lost, things we are thankful for, and stuff like that too, right? And if you guys really think about it, this is actually the situation where guys can thrive the most. Like this is the environment we need. Not just, playing inside the church, but having this competition against other churches. We need this type of environment. We need to be with each other and just totally do guy stuff. And from the outside perspective, probably girls won't understand why guys are like this, right? Because like think about this. Even at the retreat that I went to, remember I went to the retreat. It was over the weekend, long weekend, and I was with the guys, right? And I was talking to the girls, like some of the leaders and stuff, what we do, how much I make fun of them, and to them it seems like bullying, right? And they're like, "Why do you treat each other like that? That would be so mean. Are they like your personal punching?" I'm like, but it's not. It's not really us treating each other in that way. It's just how guys bond. It's just different. We make fun of each other, but even when we're saying like, even when we make fun of each other, there's no malice. We're not trying to hurt each other. It's just fun. It's just the way guys bond. Like, I don't even know if I should say this. Like, we would be okay while there's one time when the girls go out to hike and we're like, no, we're staying home. Why? Because we're going to play cards for punishments, right? And, there's even one point, there's one of the losers of the punishment had to wash their face in toilet water. Like they have to go, everyone's watching. You put your hands into the toilet bowl and wash your face. And then a lot of you out there like, ew, I can't believe you did that. But for guys, it's a memory. It's exciting, right? And I'm not going to tell you who lost because, that's a bro secret. Well, it's not really a secret, right? And it could have been me too, but I'm not going to say because it's a bro secret. And I want the girls to be like, oh my gosh, it's so gross, right? So, we guys just do it because it's almost feels like a ritual. And when, even when, I'll tell you this, when Sunseem makes fun of me and everyone laughs, I don't feel like he's trying to make me feel bad. I feel good. Like when Sunseem jokes and I'm like the center of the joke, he uses me as the brunt of the joke. I feel happy. As weird as that sounds, I'm like, wow, Sunseem made fun of me, right? And I think for guys, we don't mind when we're all close, or even when there's someone we look up to, we don't mind them making fun of us. And it makes us feel like, oh, this is a person I look up to, and for them to use me in a joke makes me feel like we're closer now. Right? Oh, we're close enough that they can use me in a joke. I'm fine with that, right? And, it actually sounds kind of weird, but it's not any different than saying, when people say, oh, if Sunseem can rebuke you really strongly, it means he trusts you. You know what I mean? I don't think it's any different than that. It's just, I guess it's just a guy thing. Maybe it's a guy thing. I'm not sure about girls. Like, I'm not sure how girls would feel if Sunseem says something. Oh gosh, like, can you imagine if Sunseem makes fun of you because like he makes fun of your weight or he makes fun of your beauty? How many, how many, how many girls could withstand that? Like, how many girls could, right? They'd probably feel embarrassed, self-conscious, ashamed, and stuff like that too. Like, I don't know. Like, it's really weird for guys. It's like that's something that's part of being a bro, right? Like, put it this way, the way that all the guys hang out when we were at the retreat, if it was really, really that bad and the guys were super hurt, think like even tonight, the campus guys are taking me out for birthday dinner. Tonight they are, right? They're all coming out. All of them are coming out. So think about this. If they were hurt by everything that happened at the retreat and they felt like, oh, we're being bullied, they wouldn't come out, right? They wouldn't come out. And actually, here's a surprising part. The surprising part is I talked to another leader, and when I told them the other week, like a couple days ago, like, yeah, maybe we'll just go out for my birthday, this, and this. Maybe, if the guys, the guys will come out. And she was like to me, please don't have any expectation because these guys don't come out. Like they rarely come out. But, she was shocked when I said, oh no, they're all coming out. Every single one of them are coming out. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're all coming out. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy kind of thing, right? And it kind of doesn't make any sense because all we do is make fun of each other and and bully each other. It's just a funny thing, but it's something that makes people, like the guys, we feel like maybe something that only guys will understand because of the culture between guys, right? And maybe only the girls that have a brother will understand what this is really like. And I would say, like, even for me, like, I was an athlete in high school and university and stuff like that too. And in the athletic culture, this is like normal to make fun of each other, to make fun of the mistakes you made. Like that's kind of normal, right? So that's something that I look at, and that's kind of like the bro culture I was raised up in. Like, I would be teaching newcomers, and some people would call me to lecture, especially those guys that are super physical and likes to joke around and doesn't like things too serious. Because that's what I'm like. I'll say, like what I learned over the weekend, I'll say some out of pocket stuff. I will say stuff that people are like, what? You're a pastor? Right? I'll just do it because I'm pretty open to it and stuff like that. And, I don't know. I guess that's just me. I'm the rebel pastor, remember, guys? So, that's something that I thought was, it's quite interesting. And I think it's something that we all have to kind of take into consideration when it comes to guys that, yeah, guys like to be taken care of. That's why they do like the older sisters that take care of them and stuff. But they really, really need that, like that guy bonding too. It makes them feel like, oh, this is great. Oh, I love being here kind of thing. And they'll come out even more. Right. So, yeah, that's the guy culture, and it may not make sense. And of course, I will say sometimes it might cross the line. Like when it comes to competition, sometimes we do get a little bit aggressive and stuff like that too. But overall, it's not really such a huge deal or anything like that. Thank you guys for going into the polls. Polls are looking really good. We have it's about what is your longest prayer in one sitting? We've got over 80 people that have actually done the poll, and it's kind of flattening out now to what it normally should be, right? So, it says for 1 to 3 hours, you have about 83% doing 1 to 3 hours, which I think is quite normal for the longest prayer, because I say 3 hours is still a very, very long time. And then anywhere after 3 hours, like 3 to 7 hours is only like if it's 83%, then 17%. Which is a very small group. So 3 to 5 hours is 6%. And interestingly, 5 to 6 hours is 4%. And then 7 hours is 7%. But I probably think the 7 hours would be higher, is the highest of them, because it's like one of those perfect numbers that everyone is kind of striving and reaching for. But yeah, 7 hours is only at 7%. And I think if we had maybe, if we had maybe, let's say 100, 200 people voting, I think the numbers would be even more, there would be a even bigger difference. Like I would say 1 to 3 hours would probably hit 90%. It wouldn't be at 83, it'd be at 90%. And then the remaining 10% would be shared between 3 to 7 hours. Yeah. But it's a hard challenge. It's not easy to be praying for that long of a time, right? And, I actually think it's very rare to have anyone even try to pray for a really long time because, that's not one of our goals, right? The only reason people try to pray longer is either it's a condition or it just happened because you're in such a crazy situation or circumstance, you're just sitting there in prayer for hours and hours, right? Like even for me to do the 7 hours of prayer for 40 days straight, it was a condition. Right? It was something that was out of the blue. We made up our mind like 2 hours before we started that condition. Right? It was after listening to an inspiring testimony of a pastor in Korea at that church where the Ewha Women's University, that pastor did 7 hours of prayer for 40 days straight, and they evangelized like something like 20 people or something along that line. It was inspiring, right? And from that, and we understand the power of testimony from that, there's like 5 of us that began to we're going to do this condition right now kind of thing, right? And we did it on the same night. That night, that testimony ended around 10 p.m. We went out to go eat or shower, come back, and then we started that prayer condition from like midnight, and we went straight through. We had pre-dawn, and then we prayed even more after that and stuff like that. So, but you know what? This made me think about something kind of interesting. Remember, like I said, that 40 days of 7 hours of prayer that I actually completed it, right? I was inspired because of a testimony of the pastor who did the exact same thing. And that video testimony was shown to everyone in Providence, right? So I'm sure more people were really inspired by that too. But when I thought about it, it's like, wow, that's the power of testimony. That's the power of testimony, which shows God's authority and power. But I think that's one of the things we kind of lack in the Western countries because we're just not big enough. We're not big enough. We're not advanced enough. We don't have the skill or the manpower or time for people to do these types of things. And this is why you're not going to see Western testimonies that pop up and can share with others. You know what I mean? Like it's a big difference when you see Koreans doing it and we're listening to it in translation. Well, but imagine if it's like a Western person talking about that. A Western person testifying about 7 hours of prayer a day for 40 days and all the crazy results that happen, this, and this, right? And I find that to be one of the weak points in smaller countries where I don't see enough testimony. Like we don't have our own system of testimony where, someone can have a powerful testimony that only the leader will hear about it or only a church will hear about it, but it's probably it'll be way more impactful if it was put on video, right? It was edited really well, and then it's sent to all the other Western countries to inspire others to do the same or show them that there's some type of hope going on somewhere else in the world too. Because we see this all the time in Korea. They have events, they have testimonies, they have all these things. Everything is recorded, then made into a highlight video for everyone to see. There's reporting of events, what's going on around Korea and such. And but in the Western countries, you just never see that type of thing. Like there's not a lot of that going on. You might see it in a church, but you won't see it at like a national level or even at the Western church level, right? It's just not the skill and the time. We just don't have it. And I do think it can be done at a smaller level, right? We just can't do it at the level of Korea, obviously. But there's got to be a way where all Western countries can do it together. I think that's something that is very, very possible. And that would actually be really cool, right? I think it's visionary. I think it's visionary for all countries to be inspired by other members that speak English from around the world, right? Because one of the problems, like even when you look at Canada or America, like America has 500, like maybe less than 500 members, but they're scattered. America's so big that if you're going to fly from, let's say you're going to fly from LA to New York, that's like 6-hour flight. That's huge. People are living really, really far away from each other, right? Like it's closer It's half the distance to Canada from LA. LA can fly to Canada in 2.5 hours, but it'll take them 6 to get to New York, and it takes them another 5 hours to get to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Or it'll take them another 4 hours to get to Houston, but they're only 2.5 hours away from Canada, right? Like there's a huge disconnect because we're so far away from each other. And, I think this is something that we can do here on MSD. We can kind of fill in this small gap where other people from across different English-speaking countries can come together and have testimonies recorded on this platform. People can talk about the things that God did for them. And because, we really have to understand there is a power to testimony. We really need to utilize this power and authority that comes from testimony. Because God is not just giving us all these experiences and miracles just for us to be in wonderment and saying, wow, God, thank you so much. But it's also for us to share with others so they can be inspired. They can see that God is working around the world, right? Because imagine this. Let's just pretend, let's just say the odds. The odds of a miracle happening, let's just say it's 1 in 1,000 people. Let's just pretend, right? So if it's 1 in 1,000 and you only have 100 people in your church, it's going to have to go over 10 times before you're going to see one miracle happen, and you're not going to see these great things happening in your church, right? But imagine you take all the English-speaking countries together, it's 1,000, something like that, then you're constantly going to see those miracles popping up and people testifying about these things happening all around the world, right? With English-speaking people, not just Koreans and Asians and stuff. So, I hope it's something that we can set up something for all Western churches, because we're a bit small that we're not going to be able to see all these miracles and things happen all the time, right? We're just not. There's just not enough people. The odds are not there. But in Korea, if you have 50,000 people, what does that mean? It means that you're going to see 50 miracles happening constantly, right? There's testimonies going everywhere that we're like, what's going on? I can't believe this kind of thing. And you're like, wow, this is a history of God. And I do think that's something that we have to understand really well. And we have to be those that know that there are so many things that God is doing and working in this world. It's just that we don't really see them because there's not a platform for people to testify about what's happening in their life, right? And if I made the challenge this week. I hope you guys have set up a challenge for yourselves to beat your record for the longest prayer you've ever had, right? And I know some people might be thinking that, but if you just go there for the longest prayer, doesn't the prayer become disingenuous because it's only about the length of prayer? And I would say that, well, I'd say yes and no, depending on your attitude. But for instance, for me doing the 7-hour prayer, or anyone who's tried the 7-hour prayer, even when I was inspired to do it, it took crazy mentality to actually do it. Just sitting there for 7 hours, sitting in prayer. Sometimes your mind is blank, thinking about what to pray about, what to say to God, right? You're just in oh my gosh, I have 6 hours left, right? 6 hours, right? And regardless if you are doing it for the length or you're doing it for a condition, no matter what, it requires a mentality and the mindset to push forward to do it, right? No matter what the reasoning is, it's not easy to break records, right? It's hard to do. But the number one thing that both of those situations have in common is you need to make up your mind to do it, right? And that's why even if we make the challenge, just making up your mind to beat your record is that first beginning point you have to have, because it's not going to be easy. Making up your mind to beat the record, right? That is the mentality you need to start with to actually even do it. Because if you don't, and you don't realize how hard it actually is, then you're going to quit, you're going to quit halfway through. Right. So that is something that I do think that we need to have first is so if we're going to sit there and say, you know what, let me beat my own record, that's the great starting point that will actually compel you to sit there and beat it. No matter if you have to pray for an hour and a half, hour 45, but you'll sit through it because you've made up your mind to do it. You know what I mean? So I hope that's something and also for those of you guys who are trying to do it, one of the things that was really helping me during the time of prayer is I had a notepad with a pen in front of me. So what I was doing, I was as I was receiving inspirations, getting answers, I was writing stuff down. So some of the time was used to write down my inspirations. I had for my 7 hours of prayer for 40 days, I think I had 70 to 80 pages of notes of inspiration. 70 to 80 pages. It's pretty crazy, guys. Like when you get into that spiritual position, you start to receive inspirations. I started writing them down. I was able to share some of these things that I realized and such too. And I hope it's something that all of us, if you get to that point, let's have that. I think it's great to have those types of sessions, right? That's those sessions just to sit down with God and pray. Yeah, so I hope that you guys, I'm hoping Saturday's a good time for a lot of people right after pre-dawn. People have a little bit more time. Don't go back to sleep, but try to set a record. I'd love to hear some testimonies of people setting records for their prayer times. And like I said, it's not about doing the 7-hour prayer. It's about beating your old record, making it your old record. And I think that's going to be more important. I've only prayed for 40 minutes at tops. Let's go for 45. Let's go for 50. I've only done an hour. Let's go for an hour and 10. You know what I mean? And I think that would be something that would be great to have something under your belt from this week's message. Yeah. Man, I'm excited about today's second segment, which is going to be in the Wednesday Message Word Study. I was so excited about it because, it's a super short message, but obviously that's not the reason why I was excited. I was excited because it was quite, it was piercing. It was a strike to the heart, but it was done in such a logical way on why I should pray for something. It was so logical. It was so reasonable. It's like, how could you not pray for something after this, right? But we'll get into that for the second segment today. But also in the third segment, we have Until the End with Daniel Baker. I'm excited for this one too because he's going to talk about his experience at the protest last weekend in Warmingdong. So I'm excited about this one. I can't wait to hear this one too. All right. So let's move then into the first break of the day.
I'll be with you in every way. Every moment of every day, I will be there to give you strength. God has filled me with His overflowing love. It's a love that flows unending each day. He keeps treating me in all the best ways. He keeps loving me unlike any other. Now that I've realized I want of God, it's only our God. He is the center of all our praise. He is the reason we sing forever. I'll sing His praises with all of my heart. He is the center of all our praise. He is the reason we sing forever. To our eternal God alone, we sing the songs of our love.
My life is a story of our love. Every moment of my life, a thankful melody. He is my past, my present, my future without end. So I offer songs of love to my one and only God now.
Hallelujah, glory to our one and only God. Hallelujah, praise and glory to our only God. He keeps treating me in all the best ways. He keeps loving me unlike any other. Now that I've realized
right, so let's get into today's word study. And every Friday we have the Wednesday message word study. This week's message was very, very short, like shockingly and surprisingly short, but it was, I would say, super powerful, like super, super powerful. And I'm sure a lot of you guys received a lot of grace from that too. The scripture from the Wednesday message was Revelation chapter 17:14, and it was they will wage. Oh, sorry, like my that's a little bit of ASMR there. Just a little taste of my bubbly sparkling water, strawberry. All right, that will loosen my lips a bit so I can say this Bible scripture properly. It's, they will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers, right? And when I read that verse, one of the things that was, of course, the focus is on the Lamb, but the part that was really inspiring for me, just that scripture, was the last sentences. And with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. And I don't know any other time where that would be more relevant than it is today, where it looks like providence is in chaos. It looks like things are bleak, but the faithful followers remain. Right? And that's all of us here right now that we're listening. It's a hard time, and we are the ones that are remaining. Like, I remember the times in the past where, when I first came to Providence, I came to Providence like 3 months, 3 or 4 months. I came September 22nd, so it's like October, November, December. So 3 months before 1999 when the first tribulation hit. And because it was getting so close, people would make those statements like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just stay until the end. Stay until the..." Like, I had some older brothers that were like older brothers in the church that were talking to me like, "You know what? If anything, just hold on. Even if you're holding on just by a pinky, you got to stay in this history," kind of thing, right? And of course, for me, being someone in, as a newcomer that's on fire, I was just like, come on, you know what? I know this history, so nothing's gonna stop me from staying, kind of thing. It's like, we never really understand the reality of true persecution or true tribulation. You don't know until it actually comes, because if it's tribulation, it means everyone is affected. Like, it's something that's so brutal that even if your faith is strong, sometimes you could possibly die, which means that you have strong faith, but then you have to think to yourself is my faith worth my physical body that I can die for this history, like literally? That's something that we wouldn't even be considering in our heads. Like you come to this history, it's like, "Hey guys, what you going to stay till the end?" Yeah, I'll stay to the end. Yeah, nothing's going to really bother me. But imagine you're faced with, you either stop believing or you die. Like, I kill you right now. Like, that's different. Like, that's real tribulation. Like, you got to think about it in that sense. What's it worth to you being in this history, living in this history? And just that one line, like I said, that one line is, "And with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful." Now, that's the word that just popped out, faithful. And I'm telling you guys right now, all of you out there listening right now, and the people that we're the faithful followers. We're the ones fulfilling this scripture. With him, with the Lamb that will triumph, will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. And that's everyone who's still here right now after that huge bomb exploded over there in March, right? So that was something that was really inspiring for me when I was listening to the scriptures. But this week's message, the Wednesday message, powerful. It's short. It's clear, right? So the first key point that we had was there was 4 or 5 key points coming from this. I didn't get all of them because it was just so good, and it just seemed like everything streamlined really, really well, right? But the first key point was, when carrying out God's history, God gives authority only to the representative of the time period, right? he carries out history through this person, the representative. And that was like the key word that came out, the representative, right? It would be the same thing as saying like a national representative is the president. A national representative is an athlete that goes to the Olympics. Right now, it's FIBA World Cup basketball going on right now, and Team Canada is in the semifinals, and they are the representatives of Canada, right? And I think it's something that we have to keep in mind is, there is a representative for the entire world. It's not just for Providence. The representative, the man of mission of this time period, is not a rep for Providence. It is a rep for the entire humankind, the entire race. That's how crazy that is. And this is why I would say that some of the things that we hear about Sunseam sounds so unbelievable. Because it's not normal. It's totally not normal. What Sunseam does is so beyond what is not normal that it is unbelievable only because we are not at that level. We're just not. We're not at that level where we can say that, oh, that's possible. But we say impossible because we are not at that level. We can't even do anything close to what Sunseam does. And this is why some people will start to doubt Sunseam. Like, well, come on, he's human. He's human, so he could make a mistake. He's human, so that's people projecting that it's their level that they project onto someone else. Because when I look at some of the things that, when I see some of the heroes and the people in the world that are so different, what about that movie? What's it called? Like 168 Hours? What was that movie called? There's a movie about a guy who goes hiking by himself, rock climbing, and then his arm gets stuck between a rock, and then he was stuck there for like 100 and something hours, and then one day, like all of a sudden, in order for him to survive, he takes a knife and he cuts his own arm off. He cuts his arm off by himself. Like, for me, that is freaking crazy. And for us, when we listen to it, what do we think? Like, imagine if someone just told you that story, you'd be like, no way. Could you? And we'd be like, there's no way I can do that. But when that person begins to testify and you see he has no arm, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. This person is at another level that we cannot understand. However, if you don't have someone testifying, if you don't have someone there, or you just hear about it, you're not going to believe it. You're going to say, oh, come on, that's not true. Oh, no, there's no way that's true, kind of thing, right? It's because we're not on that level. When you hear about all the successful people in the world, they have gone through ridiculous tribulations. They have overcome so much that the regular human being would think that it's impossible. Like, best example is, I remember I went to go watch a movie with my brother on Monday for my birthday, right? And he took me to the movie Equalizer 3. But as we're going to the movie theater, I'm talking to him about Gran Turismo. And it's a movie about a contest for gamers. People who are gamers for the video game Gran Turismo, and they do a contest. Whoever wins will actually race a real car, right? And this person becomes very successful, stuff like that too, right? So, when what I told you was, if you didn't know that the story was true, it would be a terrible movie because it's so unrealistic. Like, come on. This is a game. This is not true. This is totally not true. But if you know it's a true story, it is incredible that is, and you could believe a lot of the stuff. And a lot of stuff is true. Like, I don't know if you guys, it's a true story. So when you guys see this guy gets into an accident and he kills someone on the racetrack. Wasn't his fault either. Can you imagine going through that trauma and then continue to race and such? It's crazy, like some of the stuff that happened. It basically sounds like a movie, and it was made into a movie, and it's so unreal that if you didn't know it was a true story, it would be a terrible movie. Like, come on, this would never happen in real life. But you're like, no. That's a real life story. You're like, what? That's so crazy. This is something we have to understand, that the man of mission, the representative of this time period, is the best of everyone in the human race. which means even the most successful and unbelievable people you've heard of, including the guy from Gran Turismo, this person is even better. Is even better. And you got to keep that in your mind, right? That's why when you look at Jesus, you're like, this guy is unbelievable. The way he is, the way he acts, the mindset, the mentality that he has is God. It's divine. Because it's the best of the best of the entire human race. And that's something that I do think we don't really take into consideration of how big the representative is. Like, look at God. Like, one of the some rhetorical questions that were given at the beginning of the message is, here's a God that's almighty, all powerful, everything else. Do you think he lacks power? Do you think he lacks love? It's not about power. It's not about lacking love. It's about the desire that appears in his heart. Right? And the best example is, look at human beings too. Human beings, look at Predon. Human beings can go to Predon. That's an absolute yes. We have the capability, no matter how difficult life is, no matter how busy we are, no matter how much we've slept, we can get to Predon. That's a guarantee. It's not about the strength or love. It's about, are you willing to do it or not? That's the difference, right? That's the real difference. Are you lazy? Sometimes people are just lazy. People are burdened. People are going through things in life. But like I said, in last week's podcast, I was like, if someone were to give you $1,000 every time you went to Predon, how many people start going? Which means that it's not about people not being able to do it. It's, are you willing to do it or not? Once the mind changes, you can do it. That's the difference. Once the mind changes, you can do the things you thought you could never do. Think about this. Like, imagine it's something that, I don't want to work this job. However, imagine you have 2 children and that's the only job that's to support these 2 children. You're going to do that job. It doesn't make a difference. The person who wants to receive something, which is us, when we come to God, we don't just ask God. We have to move his heart. Move the heart of the person who wants to give to you. That's what changes everything, right? If you do something that's helping someone out, if you do something that's inspiring other people, that helps people out in the most difficult times, you don't think that they're going to give you something? Not because you ask for it, because you have inspired them. You have made them willing. You have made them wanting to help you. And in the same way too, we got to do the same things to move God's heart, move the Holy Spirit's heart, move Jesus, move Sunseem's heart, that they want to do this for you. I'm like, yeah, this is what we got to do. When our prayers are even more important right now. But what kind of prayers? And that we get into these key points, and then it looks like all these the next 4 key points were very, very similar. But the first one is, I think this is the key point. Here's a representative, and if the representative does it, it's considered that everyone has done it, right? The entire group is credited with doing it if the representative does it, right? Just like I was talking about the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Canada's the semifinals. It's not just those players from Canada are in the semifinals. Canada is in the semifinals. The entire country is in the semifinals. It's a proud moment for our country. In the Olympics, our country wins gold medal. Not just the individual athlete, the entire country is credited with it. So when you think about the representative, the person of this time period, the man of mission, if this person does something, everyone in Providence is credited with that victory, with that win. God will grant the request. It will be completely finished. The representative is the one that does everything that needs to be done at the highest level. But the crazy part we never really think about is it's the same as all of us doing it. What Sunseem has done, we are doing it too. We get credited with that righteousness. And the best example that I saw was, look at Jesus. Jesus died on the cross for who? For everyone's sins. He took up the cross so everyone can be forgiven. Did everyone go on the cross? No. But the number one, it was Jesus, the Messiah, who went to the cross, gave up his life, sacrificed, so everyone else's sin could be taken care of. So his act of righteousness, because he's the representative, that credited everyone with it. And this is why we can come directly to God now and receive forgiveness of sins. Right? That's what happened. Like, look at the words of God we receive right now. When Sunseam receives the word, he's receiving it for everyone. Even though he individually is the one setting the conditions to receive that word, he as an individual is putting the conditions in and suffering for it. It's for everyone. It's for everyone. And if you look at it this way, because the representative does does everything the representative needs to do, think about it like this. We can't get the words directly from God. And this is why we need the representative to receive the word and then give it to us. Right? So it's the person that is sent, the representative. He's the one that prays for us. Then God accepts and finishes it by forgiving what needs to be forgiving, right? Because of the person in between us and God, which is a representative, right? He's receiving it for the entire world, right? So this is something that we really have to like this. That's something that was a very, very powerful point, which means the key number 2 was, it's not just anyone that can be the representative, must be the best among the group. And I talked about that already at the very, very beginning, right? The representative must be sent by God and must do for all of mankind, right? And it's regardless if people believe in God or not, right? So when I looked at that, I was like, yeah, this is how big the representative, and that was key point 2 that we went into, right? And if we look at all the different things that the representative does, if the representative has all of us on his shoulders, sometimes we forget about the other side. And what's that? We already talked about if the representative succeeds, we all receive credit. But what about the flip side? And that's the side we don't think about much. We think we're always going to win. If the representative does poorly, it is a loss not just for the representative, but for everyone. For everyone. Right? Like, this is why the best of the best has to be chosen the representative, because if he loses, we all lose. So think about this. If the burden of the entire human race is on the representative's shoulder, what is the one thing that everyone should do? Pray for the representative. Like, really pray for the representative. And don't just pray for him. We need to participate in this history together, right? And that's one of these powerful things you see with the protest. It's not just a few people that are protesting. It is thousands and thousands, and we participate together. When it comes to internet ministry, let's participate together. We all have to help. Number one thing is pray for the representative. His destiny is our destiny. And for some reason, like, even in my mind, it's just like, I think about it in such an ideal way. It's like, yeah, come on, he's a representative. He's always going to win. He's never going to lose. But you never really think about it until the word says, hey, if he loses, you lose too. That's how big it is. Pray for the representative. Don't just pray, put the words into action. When it's time to work together, let's participate together. We all have to help by praying for the representative, right? Because when you think about it, praying for the representative is also praying for us. Because if he wins, we win too. Our portion, the things that we get, our portion of our life, the things that we get, the blessings we receive is included in what the representative does. This is why we have to pray for the representative. It's as much as praying for yourself. We've got to be the ones, whether we're on the field as a representative on the soccer field, whether we're the coaching staff, whether we're the people who are the staff on the sidelines, whether we're in the audience, we've got to cheer. We have to pray. Just like if Sunseam's on the soccer pitch number 7, what is our job as the audience? We cheer them on. That's our team. We cheer them. Like, if you're not into sports, just watch the sports for this one thing, which is what? The one thing is just to hear the crowd cheer and how much they give energy to their home team. That's what we got to do. I would say to you guys, the best place where you see the craziest cheering is like college football in the US. It's nuts, right? We have to pray and we have to cooperate, participate in this history. Because once the representative loses, we all lose. David defeated Goliath. Who benefited? The entire nation of Israel escaped death because of one person. David was the leader of that country, right? He's the one leading. And this is why not just all of us here, but especially the leaders should be doing well. Because they're the ones leading the people in a certain direction, right? Leaders should be leading people to pray for the Lord. Leaders should be leading people to participate in this history. Everyone should do well by praying and being united together. So if the rep is that big, if the representative is the person that's going to make the biggest impact in the world, who do you think Satan's going to fight the most? Who do you think Satan's going to attack the most? It's obviously the representative. Our team right now is being attacked. And this is why we need to combine forces and pray, right? We need to combine forces, combine our strength for the representative, enable the representative so that he can destroy Satan and evil. We got to know this. This is something very powerful. Is Satan is attacking the representative right now, and we need to combine forces and pray. Combine our strength to support the representative. Enable the representative to destroy Satan and evil. And this is something that we have to take action on, or else we could be losing at this time. We don't want to lose him again. We don't want to lose him to go into prison again, right? When it's not necessary. This is a time we have to rise up. The representative has all authority, all the power. And this is why we need to be those that help the representative. So I hope that all of us are inspired by it, right? We got to be inspired. All the great examples in the message, talking about Elijah. He's the representative for all of Israel. He prayed for no rain. No one received rain. Not a single, he was only one person. At Moses' time, he's the only one that can give the 10 plagues so that the Pharaoh would set them free. He's the only one that was able to part the Red Sea. He's got the authority. Noah had the authority. He knew that the flood was coming. He's the only one with authority. No one else believed him. That's why he built the ark. We can't be those that are blind to this time period, but we can't be in our deep sleep and just say, oh, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait and see. No. We have to be, like it says in Revelation 17:14, the chosen, right? The chosen and the faithful. That's a powerful statement. Called, chosen, and faithful. Faithful means that even in the midst of tribulation, we're still going strong. Don't sit back. Don't doubt. Don't sit and do all those other different things. We got to continue. There is nothing that has been said, or none of these accusations have had enough proof for us to just say, oh, screw this. I'm not doing anything anymore. Oh, can we even evangelize anymore? Not knowing is the same as being blind. Not knowing is the same as sleeping. And one of the things that Sunsteam said in the message was, if you don't know, you're blind and you're sleeping. But the crazy part is, even Satans and ghosts know about it. But here we are in this history and we're blind or we're sleeping. Right? So I hope that we can be those that really, really support Sunsteam at this time. Like really support him. He's got the authority as the representative of this time period. Right? And right now, the 1,000-year wedding banquet has already begun. The rapture has already started. If Sunsteam doesn't do it, we have to consider we've lost. But if everyone comes together as one and does it, then God will see it and turn the situation around and and we have to win. He'll turn the situation around. But if we don't do it together, the other side's going to win. And this is not just for Providence. It's for the entire world, for every nation, for every family, for every organization. Same thing. So we have to become one with the head. And once we become one with the head, we can see every power come out. What does that mean? Well, remember, the head works through the hands, the head works through the legs, the head works through the heart, works through all the organs, which means the head by itself can't do all the miracles. But the head, once it's connected and attached to the body, can use the hands, use the feet, use the organs to make amazing miracles happen. The rep is chosen, the representative is chosen from the entire world. And once the rep does it, then it means everyone has done it. If the representative doesn't do it, then it's considered that all the people of the world didn't do it. So I hope that we understood it properly and deeply. It's a short message, right? Things are not going to work out. It is absolute that it will not work out if the representative doesn't do it. So pray for the representative. Cooperate, become one, and take action. All right? So there it is, guys. That is the word study for today, and I hope it's something that really inspires you once again. There's just so much to be inspired by anyways. So everyone, write in the comments below if you were inspired, if you received some grace from it too. And we'll move on to the second break of the day.
Just as a warm spring breeze thaws out the frozen ground, you came to me like springtime, and then you embraced my heart. Your words became a song, like a poem in my heart. They came just like a letter, and they opened up my heart. That heart of true sincerity, and all the stories shared between you and I are like gifts from up above, just the way we are now. Let's converse together, let's protect each other as we comfort one another. Let's follow that one voice that leads us to God, and we'll sing of all the same dreams. Just as a river shines and sparkles in the sun, you came to me like sunlight, and you brightened up my heart. Although the setting sun so briefly paints the sky, the beauty and inspiration I'm feeling lingers in my heart. That heart of true sincerity, and all the stories shared between you and I are like gifts from up above, just the way we are now. Let's converse together, let's protect each other as we comfort one another. Let's follow that one voice that leads us to God, and we'll sing of all the same dreams. Just the way we are now. Let's converse together. we comfort one another. Let's follow that one voice that leads us to God. And we'll sing of all the same dreams.
Just the way we are now. Let's converse together. Let's protect each other as we comfort one another. Let's follow that one voice that leads us to God. And we'll sing of all the same dreams.
And we'll sing of all the same dreams.
Okay, so let's get into our final segment for today and for the entire week. Every Friday, we have Until the End Mental Health Podcast with Daniel Baker over there in Korea, just 19 years old, doing an amazing job. I hope you guys enjoy this. He's going to talk about the protests that he was participating in, and I'm looking forward to listening to this too, all right? All the way over there from Korea, only 19 years old. This is Daniel Baker with Until the End.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. Now, today, I have a very interesting episode for you guys because last week or last Saturday, I went to the Geumsan 집회 or the Geumsan protest that was happening close to Warmerdong. Okay, yeah, it was in Warmerdong. And that day was a very interesting day because I went there very early for the SS leaders and SS department leader retreat, and I stayed in Warmerdong the whole day, so I was able to see the whole situation, everything. Yeah, being there from 9 o'clock, I was able to see like a lot of like the preparations, just everyone working really hard to make sure that this whole protest went well, and it was very interesting. First off, I want to say, and I want to thank everyone for all of the prayers with the protests in Korea, because I know many of you can't be here in person, but all of your prayers really help. And it's slowly feeling like, the whole situation, all of other people are looking, and yeah, it's a very interesting situation. It seems like slowly, if Providence keeps this up, then I really believe that the future can change. The reason why we did it in Warmerdong instead of Geumsan was because there was a lot of really bad YouTubers that was going to make a counter-protest, which meant that there was a good chance of physical fights between our faction and the other faction because they were coming in so hot. So we did the right thing. We changed and we played it by ear, and we changed instantly according to the other person's hand, and we did it in Warmerdong, which was very, very good. I after going to a lot of the protests, this is the first feeling I've had that's been very different from the other ones. First off, there was such a massive spiritual power that protesting in Warmerdong actually gave. It was very, very, very touching, like protesting in Warmerdong, because I don't know why. Maybe it's because Sensei was born there. Yeah, maybe that's why there's a lot of extra spiritual power. So originally at first, people were like, just not, it wasn't as fiery as the others, but as time went on, as, we started to protest and talk about how we were wronged, everyone got really fiery. And when I say fiery, I say it was very, very, it was 뜨겁다, very 뜨거. Because, yeah, in the middle of the protest, it rained. I was drenched. Yeah, it rained. It really felt like our prayers and our tears and God's tears were finally, shedding. Yeah, it's, it was raining so hard that even the presider and the person who was, speaking in front had to wear an umbrella. But I didn't prepare anything. Me, other people, we just stood there. It's rain? Yeah, nothing. It's not going to touch us, or it's not going to hurt us. We're not running away from this fight. That's the kind of mentality that the people there had, including me. And to be perfectly honest, that gave me a lot of strength. Because it symbolically felt like Providence isn't going to back down. A lot of people in the past, with headquarters and stuff, had issues of not being able to act, and they all resigned. But the people we have now is very interesting. So there's a part of the headquarters that a new pastor was anointed to that position, and it's with the press. And this new pastor, half of all of the donations that went to this protest went to press. And yeah, it's just a logical thing to do, because you want more press to come. And that's why I really mean it, that there was a lot more press that came to the Warmdong one compared to like Seoul, even the one that we did a lot. I think there's like 10 more articles, 15 more articles on ours. It's kind of crazy, right? Who would have thought that if you put more money and make sure that these people who, these newspapers, the press, if you give them more money, they will come. Yeah, they will show our side, and that really helps, and that I can slowly feel like the tide is going our way. Yeah, and the prayer, it was just even thinking about it makes me tear up a little bit, because how fiery the prayer was, how symbolic everything was, to the whole situation, to all of the difficulties Providence went within this 1 year. And it's really funny, because the second everything finished, prayer finished, the rain stopped. It didn't rain the whole day after that. Yeah, it's crazy. It blew my mind when that happened. Yeah, everything was good. Like, the speeches were great. Telling everyone, protesting, the 외치기, shouting. Everything was almost perfect. Yeah. I really think that this will be one of the last things I talk about, but yeah, I really want to say that, it really didn't matter that we, changed the location at the last minute. It didn't matter because we weren't physically in front of other people, but we were in front of God, and we were really pleading that this situation, the whole same situation, can go according to God's will. And that's the only reason we did it. It would have made a lot more sense if our goal was to only go for the press, only go for changing Korea's mind. If our goal was to do that, we would have just quit. We would have just not go. But people don't understand, right? Non-Provi people don't understand why did they do it in Warmindong. We did it because it's not because of you guys, or we're not changing your guys' mind. We're trying to talk to God. Make sure that God knows that we're pouring our hearts out. Well, we need to tell and let the Trinity know what we feel. And that's why we did it on Warmindong. And I have no regrets. Yeah, so that was an amazing experience that I'll probably never forget. Yeah. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of the Do It Until the End podcast. And to everyone who is going until the end, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for another wonderful episode of Until the End. And just a really inspiring and moving testimony about the protests that happened last Saturday in Kumsan, or actually happened inside Warmindong. Hope you guys super enjoyed it. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave it below for Daniel. He's doing an amazing job. Let's just keep encouraging each other, all the people that are guest speakers, from Eddie Kwan for 2G Talks. You have the Health is Happiness, and also you have Until the End. If you have any more questions or anything else, go ahead and leave in the comments below. We'd love to hear from it. Everyone, have an amazing and awesome weekend. We are looking forward to just relaxing, reviving, recharging, and receiving a new message for the next week. All right? Everyone, see you again, and we'll see you on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know.